You've never asked what's actually inside the luxury product you paid for. And I don't mean what the label says. I don't mean what the sales associate told you. I mean physically inside it. Beneath the logo, under the lining, behind the hardware, at the molecular level where marketing can't reach. Because if you had, you would have discovered something that 7 of the most trusted luxury brands in the world are desperately hoping you never find out. The products they're selling you, the bags, the sunglasses, the jeans, the skincare, the luggage, aren't luxury. They're not even close. They are, by every measurable material standard, cheap. And in some cases, the word trash isn't an exaggeration. It's a technical description. These 7 brands have built empires on the gap between what you believe you're buying and what you're actually holding in your hands. Today, we're closing that gap permanently. I've spent the last 14 months doing something these brands pray consumers never do. Pulling their products apart, component by component, and pricing every single piece. Not retail price, not wholesale. Factory gate cost. Bill of materials. The raw number that tells you what the physical object in your hands actually cost to produce before a marketing department, a celebrity ambassador, and a retail lease on Fifth Avenue inflated the price by a factor of 10, 20, sometimes 40. I've consulted independent materials analysts, read teardown reports from leather specialists and textile engineers, cross-referenced factory sourcing through import databases like Import Genius and Panjiva, and spoken to former production managers who worked inside the supply chains of brands on this list, people who signed NDAs and are still nervous about talking. What they confirmed is what the data already suggested. The luxury you're paying for, in the majority of cases, does not exist inside the product. It exists inside the advertising, inside the store design, inside the tissue paper and the ribbon and the bag they hand you at the register. The experience feels expensive. The product isn't. According to a comprehensive analysis published by Deloitte on the global luxury goods market, the average gross margin across the personal luxury goods sector exceeds 65%. For some of the brands on this list, internal estimates push that number past 80. That margin has to come from somewhere. It comes from the distance between what they spend making the product and what they charge you for the privilege of owning it. 7 brands, 7 receipts. Let's see what you actually bought. Brand number 7, Coach. And I'm specifically talking about the Coach you can buy today. Not the Coach your mother carried in 1998. That was a different company. Pre-2000, Coach was a New York leather goods manufacturer known for heavy, thick, American-made glove-tanned cowhide bags that lasted decades. People still bring those vintage Coach bags into leather repair shops, and the craftsmen marvel at the hide quality. That Coach is gone. After the company rebranded as Tapestry Inc. and shifted its strategy toward accessible luxury, a phrase that should make you suspicious every time you hear it, the product changed fundamentally. The majority of Coach bags sold today are manufactured in Vietnam, the Philippines, Cambodia, and China. The leather on their most popular styles has shifted from the full-grain glove-tanned hides they were known for to what industry insiders describe as corrected grain and semi-aniline leather. Hides that have been sanded, buffed, and coated with a pigmented finish to mask surface imperfections. This isn't inherently terrible leather, but it's not what the brand's reputation was built on, and it's not what the price implies. A Coach Tabby shoulder bag retails at $450. Based on materials analysis and production cost estimates from sourcing professionals, the bill of materials, leather, hardware, lining, thread, zipper, sits in the range of $35 to $55. The bag is fine. The price is a fiction. You're paying for the memory of a brand that no longer makes the product it became famous for. Brand number 6, True Religion. There was a moment, roughly 2005 to 2012, when True Religion jeans were a genuine cultural force. The horseshoe stitch on the back pocket was a status symbol. Pairs retailed at $300, and people paid it without hesitation. Here's what was happening behind the scenes. True Religion's denim was sourced from the same mills in Guangdong Province and central Mexico. that supplied mid-tier brands at a fraction of the price. The fabric itself, a standard 12 to 14 ounce cotton twill with varying percentages of elastane, was not fundamentally different from what you'd find in jeans costing $60 to $80 at a department store. The difference was the wash treatment, the branding, and the pocket detail. According to a former production coordinator who worked with one of True Religion's primary manufacturers, the factory cost on a pair of their core denim was between $11 and $18. Retail, $299. The brand filed for bankruptcy in 2017 with over $700 million in debt. They've since relaunched under new ownership with jeans priced at $200 to $350. The factory model hasn't meaningfully changed. The denim isn't from Japan. It's not selvedge. It's not hand-dyed. It's mass-produced cotton denim with a logo that once meant something and now survives on the fumes of relevance. You're not buying premium denim. You're buying a pocket stitch. Brand number 5, Versace sunglasses. Actually, let me expand this. Versace, Prada, Dolce & Gabbana, Burberry, Chanel, Ralph Lauren, Michael Kors, Valentino. Every single one of these brands' sunglasses are manufactured by a single company. EssilorLuxottica. One corporation, one supply chain. Factories primarily in Agordo, Italy, and Dongguan, China. The frames are produced on the same injection molding machines, using the same acetate sheets and metal alloys, by the same workers, in the same facilities. What changes between a pair of Versace sunglasses and a pair of Ray-Bans? Also owned by EssilorLuxottica is the logo stamped 12 words on the temple and the price tag attached to it. According to a 2023 exposé by the Italian financial publication Il Sole 24 Ore, the estimated factory cost of a standard acetate frame sunglass produced in EssilorLuxottica's facilities is between $15 and $25. A pair of Versace sunglasses retails at $300 to $450. A pair of Prada at $300 to $500. The lenses are the same CR39 polymer, or basic polycarbonate, used across the entire portfolio. The UV protection is identical, because that's regulated by safety standards, not brand positioning. You're paying a 400% markup on a logo heat-pressed onto a frame that rolled off the same production line as eyewear sold under their house brand for a fifth of the price. This is not a secret within the industry. It's only a secret to the person handing over their credit card. Brand number 4, Roberto Cavalli. This one is a masterclass in the geography of deception. Roberto Cavalli built its identity on Italian glamour, Florence, fashion, Mediterranean luxury. The label says, "Made in Italy." And for decades, that phrase carried weight because it implied a specific standard of manufacturing. Here's the modern reality. European Union labeling regulations allow a product to carry Made in Italy designation if the last substantial transformation occurs in Italy. The definition of substantial transformation has been exploited aggressively. A Roberto Cavalli garment can be cut and sewn in Romania, Turkey, or Tunisia, countries with significantly lower labor costs, then shipped to Italy for final pressing, quality inspection, button attachment, or label sewing. That final step constitutes the substantial transformation. The garment is now legally made in Italy. According to investigative reporting by the Clean Clothes Campaign and corroborated by import records, a significant and growing percentage of Italian luxury production follows this model. The sewing, the most labor-intensive and expensive part of garment construction, happens outside Italy. The finishing, the cheapest part, happens inside Italy. And the price reflects a product made entirely in Italy by Italian artisans. It wasn't. Roberto Cavalli filed for bankruptcy in 2019 and was acquired by the Dubai-based investment group Vision Investment Company. Since that acquisition, industry analysts tracking their supply chain have noted further offshoring of production, while retail pricing has remained at luxury levels. Designed in Italy is not the same as made in Italy. And even made in Italy no longer means what you think it means. If you're starting to notice a pattern here, billion-dollar brands quietly dismantling the very thing that made them valuable while charging you as if nothing has changed. you're seeing exactly what this channel was built to expose. Consider subscribing if you want to keep seeing behind the curtain, because we're only halfway through this list and it gets worse. Brand number 3. Rimowa. The German luggage manufacturer, once revered for its aluminum suitcases that could survive decades of airport handling. Rimowa was acquired by LVMH in 2016 for approximately 640 million euros. Within 2 years of the acquisition, longtime Rimowa customers and luggage enthusiasts began documenting changes. The aluminum cases, which were already being supplemented by polycarbonate models before the acquisition, saw the polycarbonate line expand dramatically. A Rimowa Essential Cabin Suitcase in polycarbonate retails at approximately $750. Polycarbonate is a thermoplastic. It's the same family of material used in budget suitcases at a fraction of the price. The shell cost on a polycarbonate case of this size, based on injection molding cost estimates from plastics industry suppliers, is in the range of $15 to $25. The wheels, telescoping handle, zipper, and interior lining add another $20 to $40 in components. We're looking at a bill of materials of roughly $40 to $65 on a product selling for $750. But here's the detail that should concern you most. Rimowa's warranty, once considered among the best in the luggage industry, has been restructured since the LVMH acquisition. Customers on travel forums, Flyer Talk and Reddit's r/bau one bag have reported increasingly difficult warranty claim processes, longer service times, and a shift toward component repair rather than full replacement. The product costs less to make, the warranty is harder to use, and the price went up. That's not a luxury trajectory. That's an extraction strategy. Brand number 2. La Mer. The skincare brand that charges $375 for 2 ounces of Crème de la Mer moisturizer. The mythology behind La Mer is that it's Miracle Broth, a proprietary blend of sea kelp fermented through a process allegedly inspired by NASA research, makes it unlike any other moisturizer. That mythology is worth examining under a microscope, because people have. Independent cosmetic chemists, including several who've published their analyses on platforms like The Beauty Brains and Chemist Confessions, have broken down La Mer's ingredient list using publicly available INCI data. The top ingredients, the ones present in the highest concentrations, are mineral oil, petrolatum, glycerin, and seaweed extract. These are standard cosmetic ingredients available at commodity pricing. According to a cost analysis by a cosmetic formulation chemist interviewed by Refinery29, the estimated formulation cost of Crème de la Mer is between $2 and $5 per jar. The Miracle Broth, the brand's proprietary differentiator, is essentially a fermented seaweed extract. Seaweed-based extracts are used across hundreds of skincare products at every price tier. The fermentation process adds cost, but we're talking marginal increases, not the kind that justifies a $370 price tag. Dermatologists I've reviewed commentary from, including Dr. Dre, Dr. Shireen Idris, and board-certified dermatologists publishing in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology, have consistently stated that there is no peer-reviewed clinical evidence demonstrating that La Mer outperforms quality moisturizers at a fraction of the cost. CeraVe. Moisturizing cream retails at approximately $16 and contains ceramides, hyaluronic acid, and cholesterol, ingredients with significantly more published clinical backing for skin barrier repair than fermented seaweed. You are not buying skincare at La Mer. You are buying a creation myth with a beautiful jar. And brand number 1. The company, I believe, represents the widest gap between perceived prestige and actual product substance in today's consumer landscape. Louis Vuitton. Specifically their coated canvas pieces, the Monogram and Damier collections that generate a substantial share of their revenue. The iconic Louis Vuitton monogram material is not leather. It never has been leather. It is toile monogram, a cotton canvas base treated with a PVC coating and stamped with the LV design. This is not hidden information. Louis Vuitton does not conceal this fact. But the typical customer walking into a Louis Vuitton boutique and spending $1,500 on a Neverfull tote assumes, because the price point, the ambiance, and the brand messaging all reinforce it, that they are purchasing a luxury material. They are purchasing coated canvas. The estimated production cost of a Neverfull based on evaluations from fashion supply chain experts and supported by teardown reviews from handbag specialists, falls between $30 and $50. The canvas, the leather accents, the interior lining, the hardware, the stitching, $30 to $50. Retail price, $1,690 as of 2024. And Louis Vuitton has raised prices consistently every year, sometimes more than once annually. According to figures tracked by Purseblog, the Neverfull has risen in price by over 60% in just the past 5 years. The item hasn't changed. The materials haven't been upgraded. The production hasn't shifted to a higher cost region. The number increased simply because Louis Vuitton decided the brand could sustain it. LVMH's fashion and leather goods division reported an operating margin of around 40% in its latest annual report. That's after expenses. The gross margin on individual canvas items is believed to be much higher. You are funding an experience, a flagship location on the Champs-Élysées, a marketing budget larger than the GDP of some small countries, and a coated cotton bag that costs less to make than a solid meal. Here's the pattern repeated across every brand on this list, and once you recognize it, you can't ignore it. Step 1. Establish credibility through real craftsmanship or a compelling brand story. Step 2. Once the brand equity is strong and customers are loyal, start lowering production costs while holding or raising prices. Step 3. Channel the savings into marketing and retail presentation. The store design, the packaging, the unboxing experience, the celebrity endorsements. So the perception of luxury stays intact even as the reality declines. Step 4. Depend on the fact that most consumers will never dissect the product, test the materials, evaluate the components, or compare manufacturing cost to retail price. That's the formula. It works for handbags. It works for eyewear. It works for skincare. It works for travel gear. It works across industries. Because we've been conditioned to associate price with quality. And historically, that was often true. But modern luxury has broken that link entirely. Price now reflects marketing spend. It reflects retail presence. It reflects how often a celebrity was photographed using it. It does not, consistently, reliably, or honestly, reflect what the product is made from or how long it will endure. So what should you do with this insight? First, insist on material transparency and precise composition details before buying anything marketed as luxury. If a brand won't clearly explain what a product is made of, down to material grade and source, they're selling a narrative, not a product. Woo! Second, train yourself to mentally break down a bill of materials. When you examine an item, estimate what each component would cost if you bought it individually. If that total is a fraction of the retail price, you've identified the markup for branding. Third, study the resale market. If a product drops 60% in value the moment it leaves the store, that depreciation signals something the marketing avoids telling you. Fourth, look for brands that prioritize transparency. Companies like Quince, Italic, and authentication platforms like The RealReal exist because consumers are becoming more aware. The brands that thrive in the next decade will be those that can justify pricing with evidence, not legacy. And fifth, stop confusing the purchase experience with the product itself. The elegant packaging you receive at checkout, the tissue paper, the ribbon, the scent of the boutique, that's staging. It's designed to make the act of buying feel like part of the product. It isn't. The product is what remains when the packaging is discarded and the receipt is gone. The luxury brands that truly earn their status, and they do exist, don't rely on theatrics. They present the product and let the quality speak. The 7 brands on this list can't rely on that. Because if the materials spoke, they'd reveal a number that might shock you. Tell me in the comments, which brand from this list do you own? And after hearing this breakdown, are you holding on to it or walking away? No judgment either way, but I'm curious how you're thinking about it now. If someone you know is about to spend $1,000 on one of these brands, share this with them first. It might be the most valuable favor you do for them this week. And if you want the next deep dive, the one targeting an industry with even less transparency and even more bold pricing, follow and enable notifications. That one's already underway, and I guarantee it will make this list seem mild.